Winning seems to follow John Harty. There's a direct correlation between a program's success and the impact Harty had on said program. In 1975, he was a key cog in the Heelan football machine that eventually went on to win the state championship. In 1976, he was the defensive MVP on a team that finished 9-1. His efforts earned him all state honors and a scholarship to the University of Iowa. At Iowa, he joined a program that hadn't won in the better part of 20 years. He left Iowa as a second-team All-American, team captain, and three-time second-team All-Big Ten performer. Shortly thereafter, Iowa would win the Big Ten and play in the Rose Bowl. In 1981, he was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers in the second round of the NFL draft. During an injury-shortened NFL career, John would win 2 Super Bowl rings. His success would continue later during his time as president of Westmar University and now in the business world. In 1991, John was inducted into the Iowa High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame and more recently was named by the Des Moines Register as one of the state's 50 greatest players of all time and a member of their all-century team. Presenting John tonight is Heelan head football coach, former Heelan head football coach, Dave Triplett.
Good evening, I'm David Triplett, and I was the head football coach for the Sioux City Crusaders for 2 years in 1975 and 76. And one of those players was John Harty. When I first came to Sioux City, John was a quiet guy. I'd heard about him. All the coaches spoke very highly about John. I knew he had great potential. They said this kid, if he fills out, is going to be as good as anyone who ever played at Heelan. And certainly they were correct about that. John was one of those kids that, as it said, he spoke softly but carried a big stick, as Teddy Roosevelt said. And that was John. Did not say a lot, but he spoke with his pads and his head and his helmet and his plays. We weren't sure whether John was an offensive or defensive player. I wasn't sure either till I saw him on the field and realized he was big enough and strong enough and was going to fill out some more to be an offensive tackle. But his demeanor, his ferocity and his temper and the way he played from sideline to sideline made him a great candidate for a very, very above average defensive lineman. And he benefited, as we all did, from his position coach's coaching, Phil Karpuk. God rest Phil's soul. But John Harty, not only was he a hunter on the field and would make big plays from behind, from the front, back. He was an excellent pass rusher. He had those long arms and get his arms up. But he was also a good athlete. He did play basketball. He could move well, got up and down the court, was a good post player. So John, as he filled out and got better, he became even more dominant. I don't think I've been around a defensive lineman that has moved as quickly and exploded off the ball as much as John did. Believe me, I found that out a couple years later when I was on the Iowa State staff playing against Iowa, and John was on the other side of the ball, knocking my offensive tackles back in the backfield. So I said, well, good for him. But John went on to have a great career. He played at Iowa, like I said, had a great career at Iowa, and then went on to play in the NFL for San Francisco. 2 Super Bowl victories.
From the 2-foot line, calling signals on 4th down, has the ball, hands it off. He's been at the goal line. I don't believe he got in. I don't believe he's in there. The 49ers have held, and listen to the Niners crowd across the way.
So how rare is that somebody has a high school championship under their belt and then 2 Super Bowl rings on their fingers?
We're world champions.
John was great. Very quiet, but nice to coach because he just went out and did his job. I remember one of the biggest plays ever he made, and maybe one of the biggest plays in Heelan High School history. We were playing Dowling in that semifinal game, and it's a tight game. I think we're behind, actually. And they punted the ball, and it was partially deflected, and John looked up, and there it was, and he caught it, and took off running. And by golly, we're all cheering him along. And he went 60 yards. And that was the go-ahead touchdown that helped clinch that victory for us and take us to the state championship. And when that happened, Memorial Field went wild. And John's name was etched in history. So John, congratulations on your great careers with your family and your highlights in your football career. And you certainly are deserving of being part of this inaugural class. Congratulations, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Harty.
Well, I gotta pull out the glasses these days. Man, what I wouldn't do for that hair today. Huh? Missing a little bit of that. You know, you heard I played football and basketball, but I saw Eugene's clip there, and I was thinking about track. I really didn't get into track all that much, I have to say, but I was really proud that we started the Fat Man Relay. So we were city champs in the Fat Man Relay. I don't think it ever went to state, but I'd kind of like to know how we ever, did we set a record that still stands? I don't know. It's a real pleasure to be here. I heard Coach Triplett say some remarks about liking to hit and being, an aggressive player and stuff. I'd like to shout out my wife of 41 years, Monica, who has met my freshman year. Very talented young lady. My daughter, Sarah, we were both graduate of Heelan, and my son, Zach. Zach and I are, to my knowledge, Leo Miller and his son, and myself and my son are the only two father-son hard hitter award recipients in the history of Heelan. So, whatever I learned about one after before, he followed suit. So it's a real pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity. When I think about my career, a lot of it's been around sports, and I just want to mention that throughout all that time, your coaches and stuff, they're always trying to put you in position to make the play. So when I played with the Niners, Bill Walsh always had these little quips that he would say, usually followed by "Don't be that guy." I've seen everybody does this, "Don't be that guy." But on a more serious note, it's always trying to put yourself in a position to make the play, right? Put yourself in a position to win. And, you don't do that on your own. And so, I was fortunate growing up. I had good parents. They saw the value, the wisdom of seeing that I, had a Catholic education. And along the way, I had the pleasure of, having a lot of good people give me a lot of guidance and coaching and spending a lot of themselves, their time and effort and energy with me. Guys, a lot of them aren't here today. Mike Merrigan was one, Joe Gantz. I don't know how many people remember these guys, but they were pretty integral in my early years of sports. Then on to Heelan, Brendan Burchard, Ron Schultz, Dick Collins, certainly on basketball. I always thought it was basketball was always my thing, really. I always liked basketball. And I remember sitting down one time with John Olson, another one of my coaches, when I was a sophomore, and I said, "That was pretty good, wasn't I?" And he said, "Yeah, I don't know. You're always sitting next to me in foul trouble." So, I always said, 5 fouls. I mean, come on, I need that a quarter. Anyway, I was really blessed with it's really not about me. This thing is about, all the people that, supported me and gave me guidance, and the people that invested their time and effort. Triplett, Phil Carpuck is in here. He was a great guy. I learned a lot from him. And, sorry, I got blow my nose. It's kind of emotional for me. I'm kind of a sap as I get older. Yeah. I promise not